Welcome to 20-minute tips and topics, how to build a strengths-based and holistic college list with Dana Ponsky of Consult with Dana and Nicole Walberg of Walberg College Counseling. We are really excited to share the second installment in our series, 20-minute tips and topics with you. I'm going to transition so that you can see both Dana and I while we introduce ourselves. Dana, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Dana Ponsky from Dana Ponsky Consulting Services, and I am your guide to college. I have been a college counselor now for 10 years, formerly a school-based counselor and now an independent college counselor based in Brooklyn, New York. I'm really happy to be able to work with families who are going into college, graduate school, families that are looking to understand the career development process in college admissions, as well as working with families who are looking to have a quality Jewish life and those who are also exploring sober living options for students who choose to live a clean life. So I'm really excited to be able to do this, and hopefully you'll be able to gain a lot of information today.
And I'm Nicole Walberg, owner of Walberg College Counseling. I've worked for 14 years in higher education as an admission counselor, academic advisor, international student advisor, and study abroad advisor. And for the last 3 years, I've been an independent educational consultant working with high schoolers and people transitioning out of the military to help them identify their career goals and which programs and universities will best meet their needs. If you're interested in gap years, I love exploring those options, as well as really looking at your whole career planning trajectory to help you navigate that process. So without further ado, let's jump into our presentation.
Okay, so the most important part of the college admissions process is understanding the college list. It's really the jumping off point to developing what's going to be for you a really hopefully successful and much more stress-less experience for you and your family. So what we're trying to impart on you today is that the college list you need to see the college list as a guide. It is something that is going to guide you from the very beginning of this process when you first meet with either a school-based counselor or an independent college counselor, and it's going to help inform your decisions as you go from the beginning process till the very end when you have to make a decision about where you're going to school. The other thing, just like a lot of different lists and a lot of different guides, is that the journey can take a lot of different directions as it continues along. Just like if you were climbing a mountain, you might go down one trail different than you anticipated, and it will take you to a different place, but you still are supposed to get to the top of the mountain in some way. So really, it's more about an evolution, and it's constantly seen as one of those things about your college application process that nothing is set in stone. So it's really important to look at it from that perspective. When you're looking at developing a college list, when you're talking about what it is that you're hoping to accomplish at the end game, you really want to think to yourself, am I building this list with intention? Am I thinking about schools that I would be really happy to either commute to every day for 4 years? I would be really happy to live on a campus for 4 years. I'd be really happy to live in the area where that college is for 4 years. And are you thinking about not just the name of a college, but whether or not it's really the place that you could see yourself calling home? You also want to look at things like the professional and social community that college is going to offer to you. You're spending a lot of time on a college campus, whether you're in class or out of class, and in fact, you spend more time out of class on the college campus than you do inside the classroom. And so you have to really take into consideration the professional and social experiences that college is going to have and see how it's going to be the right fit for you. Do you want to be on a campus with a lot of clubs and organizations? Do you want to be on a campus where students have jobs both on and off campus and are going to prepare you for your future? Do you want something where there's going to be a lot of athletic events or theatrical performances? These are all different aspects of building a list that take into consideration what you might find really interesting. And finally, you also want to make sure that your list incorporates your priorities. Again, we talked about, do you want that to be a place where you're living on campus? So does it have a strong residence life experience? Is it a school that really caters to commuter students if you choose to not live on the campus? Does it go ahead and align with your religious values? Does it align with your moral and ethical values in terms of how teaching is done? There's a lot of different ways that you can go ahead and look at your priorities, but it's really important to look at those when you're developing and understanding that how a college list can be really important. And also, the college list reflects your program's options, the program options of interest. So does the college have excellent academic and co-curricular options for you? If you are, for example, an American Studies major, which is what I was when I was in college, and I really loved the idea of studying American culture, if I got to a college campus that I thought was really great and I really liked it, but didn't have American Studies as a degree option, that campus no longer became potentially a good fit for me. And so therefore I had to look at what did I want to study academically, and then what did I also want to do outside of the classroom. In my case, I was really active when I was in high school, and I knew I wanted to be active and be involved in my campus when I was not going to be in the classroom. So you need to make sure that when you're looking at colleges, you're also looking at their options of things that are of interest to you, and not just go by the name of a particular school or the location, but you really need to look at these areas in order to make sure that how to understand the college list is a really important tool in this process.
And the best way to get a sense of whether or not a college is meeting your priorities, has the programs that you want them to have, has the curricular, co-curricular options for you, is to do the research. So this is a little bit of a homework assignment for all you college students and college going folks out there. You're going to need to do some research to identify which college is a great fit for you. That's what IECs can help you with. So that's what Dana and I can help you do, is help you discover colleges that really align with what your interests and priorities are. But of course you can do that for yourself too. So start with a lot of personal reflection. What are your preferences? What are your academic likes and dislikes? Do you want to go to a college where you're able to choose the entire curriculum? It's called an open curriculum, where you don't have any specific classes that you have to fulfill. So sciences, English, you just get to choose what is most interesting to you on that college's list of offerings. Or do you really want a structured program? So think about what your academic likes and dislikes are and how that fills in or fits in with the way that the college is academically structured. Think about your future career aspirations. If you're unsure of what you want to study, look for a college that has a really robust first-year experience program and a program that's going to help you identify your strengths, your likes, your dislikes, and help you develop a career trajectory. Think about where you're at currently in your life. Are you starting anew, or are you continuing with just kind of things that are moving forward from your current life? So are you working? Are you, where are you at? How does that college fit into that overall plan that you've got going for yourself right now? I really like to ask my students to consider what are their must-haves, what are the things that they would really like the college to have but they're flexible on, and what are the things that they absolutely do not want that college to have. And then you're going to narrow down those priorities. So distill it, think about what are those top 5 things that your college absolutely has to have, and go from there and start identifying colleges that have those things. Your research resources are online. There's lots of opportunity to do research online, either general resources like the website provided by the College Board. There are more focused lists out there for students who are interested in historically Black colleges and universities, Hispanic serving institutions, and other institutions that really focus on specific groups of students. And then of course there are the college specific websites, which there are a wealth of information and resources, especially when you want to dig deeper and find out what is that faculty member really studying, what is the college really successful at, what do the facilities look like. There are great books out there as well, everything from really large general books that will just give you the statistics and information about what is going on that college campus. So enrollment numbers, graduation numbers, all the majors offered, whether or not people live on campus or commute, you can find that out in certain kinds of books. You can also get really narrowly focused books, like the Colleges That Change Lives book, that's going to give you a narrative of very specific liberal arts colleges. You can get books that are comparative. So the Fisk Guide to Colleges, it's going to do a write-up about a college, but it will also suggest some schools that are similar to that college, or schools that students who applied to that college also applied to give you a sense and kind of a lead on more colleges that you should research for your own interest areas. And then of course you've got your school-based tools too. So Naviance, Maya Learning, Score, a lot of schools are subscribing to those service providers, and those providers also have resources for investigating and researching colleges.
Great. So I think you may have heard a few times in my previous slide that I talked about fit. And I think it's very important that Nicole and I believe recognizing the importance of fit is a huge huge part of this process. And I think we both believe fundamental to a successful college application experience. So in terms of the importance of fit, if you want to go ahead and create a strengths-based and holistic college list, you do have to think about the question, who are you today and who do you want to be? And when you go ahead and create the list, you want schools that are on that list that will help you get there. So they recognize where you're at today, but they also have the programs in place, the academic structure, the social structure, the professional organizations or support that are going to help you get to the next stage in your academic, professional, and social careers, so to speak. You also want to know what skills do you have now that need to be improved upon that particular college can help you get better at. And so there are a lot of schools that have, college is really about developing skills that are not necessarily always these tangible skills. So critical thinking, deductive reasoning, communication skills. And so if you are the type of person that really wants to develop communication as a style, you've always been in the classroom where you sat in the back, maybe looking for colleges that are going to be more seminar-like, where you're sitting in small groups of maybe 10, 15, 20 students. They're teaching what they call the Socratic method, where a professor stands up in front and it's really a back and forth conversation with the students in the room. And so I think that if you want to develop communication skills, environments like schools that have small class instruction might be very appealing to you and something to be looking at when you're looking at different types of colleges. Also, in terms of fit, you want your academic success is paramount when you're on the college campus. And you need to find the right balance between having a challenging academic experience, but also a place that's going to give you the right kind of support. If you're the student who's gone ahead and has really done well in high school and you have a solid 3.0 GPA, and so you're earning a B average in your classes, you want to be able to find a program that's going to be able to push you to be a little bit more than just a B student in college, maybe making sure that you're helping to get there as an A student, but not so difficult that you can't get there. So you really want to be able to find the balance between challenge and support. Also, you want to make sure that in terms of your academic success, like I mentioned earlier, American Studies was an interest of mine. Well, what if I got to college, I started taking American Studies classes and I didn't enjoy it? And therefore, I needed options. And so just like everyone, we say, if you have the idea of something you want to do, like American Studies, make sure that you also have a few other majors at the school that if one major doesn't work out in the end, you have other options to choose from. Because at the end of the day, you're there to get an academic experience, and we want to get you an academic degree that's going to meet who you are on your interest level, but also your skill level. And also what's really important in terms of fit is social emotional well-being. You want to make sure that your social network is going to help propel you to be a better person, to be a better leader, to feel more confident when you go out into the world beyond college. And so does it have clubs and organizations that are appealing to you? Are there going to be support services? So if you need tutoring centers or writing centers or math help, or learning support options, does that school have that to ensure your success when you're at that particular school? There are some campuses that have just the basics when it comes to learning support services. There are other schools that have far more in-depth and well-structured programs. If you need those services, you need to look for the school that's going to be the right fit for your needs. And then there's residential life versus commuter life. Do you want to be in a position where if you're commuting to school and you know you're going to spend a lot of time there, do they have a robust commuter population that can support you? And in the residence halls, is it one of those situations where students stay on campus on the weekends or on break because it's such a strong community, or do they tend to go home on the weekends? You need to balance those things out. And then finally, this just go back to academic community and academic success, is that you need to make a decision. Do you want to be within a competitive academic environment or a collaborative one? Those are very similar, very close to one another, but they're also mutually exclusive. And it's important that you recognize within yourself, where do you think you're going to thrive, whether it's competitive or collaborative, and you need to find an academic environment that's going to be able to foster whatever it is that you decide for yourself is the right fit.
So here are some ways that you can do a personal evaluation of your strengths and limitations on your own. It really comes down to asking yourself why questions. So why is that subject your favorite? Why is that subject your least favorite? Why do you participate in the activities that you participate in? Why did you choose to continue or not continue in something? What's the possible, or why is that a possible career choice for you? Why does name recognition matter? If it doesn't matter to you, that's great. If it does matter to you, that's great. But understand why it matters to you. And then lastly, why does financial value play a role in your decision making? So distilling the answers to those questions, writing them down, and then really considering them for how they shape your list and how they shape your priorities for the colleges that you're looking at is going to ensure that you're staying true to your values as you're identifying colleges that you're going to apply to.
Okay, so we talked a little bit before about career interest, and in our opinion, career interests do matter. You want to make sure that in your assessment of yourself, answering the questions that Nicole just presented and some other things that we've brought up so far, you want to make sure that you're looking at not just your short-term, but your long-term goals professionally. And so to begin going ahead and doing that, we recommend that while not every high school student knows exactly what they want to do in life. And most people change their majors when they're in college because they have a wide variety of interests. But in a particular individual's lifetime, many people change their job / career up to 7 times. So we are now in this kind of generation where having more than one job or more than one career is pretty normal. Whereas if your parents are coming from a baby boomer generation, typically once you had a job, you stayed in that job through the duration of your careers. So what we want to do with students is explore different career fields. And how do you go about doing that? There are some really great resources that are available both in school and as well through resources like Nicole and through me, where you can go ahead and do what's known as the Myers-Briggs Typology Indicator, which just gives you an understanding of who you are as a person, how you process information, and how that helps impact the way that you view the world, but also how you work with other people. It can tell you, there's oftentimes a lot of assessments that will show how your personality can tie into a career. There's also the Strong Interest Inventory, which is based upon a theory by Holland. We could go into a whole other presentation about these things. But the Strong Interest Inventory is used by a lot of college campus career centers, and more high schoolers are using variations of this to kind of identify where your areas of interest might lie. Beyond taking career assessments, you also can participate in internships. We talk about jobs, but jobs or internships are sometimes the best way to get hands-on experience, the exposure to a particular industry. You can do community service and volunteering. You don't have to be paid to go ahead to learn hands-on experience to know whether or not you might like something. You can also be in the process of giving back to the community. You could be gaining something as well in terms of insight, and that can help you shape your career interests moving forward. Summer programs are very career oriented. So a lot of colleges will go ahead and promote summer programs that are taking courses, but also might give you opportunities to do research, might give you opportunities to go ahead and speak with professionals in a particular industry. So there's a lot of different options available that way. And the other way to explore career fields is to see what the colleges have in their career centers. Their career center is something that's going to be an incredibly valuable resource for you when you are in college to help you with finding internships and finding summer programs and finding jobs upon graduation. But as a high schooler, you can also tap into what is available from the potential schools that you're looking for in regards to the Career Center to see what they do for their own students to help with this process. If you are completely undecided, which it's perfectly great to be undecided. There's no pressure to say you have to know what you want to do before you go into college. And that's one of the joys, I think, of the American system. If you go overseas, oftentimes you have to know what it is you want to study so you can find a particular school that has that program. But in this particular case, if you're undecided, just look for strong career exploration programs, majors, a lot of different majors that appeal to you, which we spoke about earlier. And something that's also very helpful is the Occupational Outlook Handbook offered by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It is a wonderful website that if you have any level of interest in any particular field, it gives you an understanding of what that career is, what kind of education you need, salary, average salaries depending on the state in which you live, skills that you need to be able to either develop or have to do that function. And it's really helpful, and they have a lot of like interests based upon that. So I recommend to all my students to check out the OOH to be able to see things out there that they may otherwise have known nothing about prior to looking at it.
And along those same lines, onetonline.org, that's also a government-run resource where you can take the Holland Career Interest Inventory, and it will give you information about the careers that match your interests, and it has a lot of that Occupational Outlook Handbook information in it too. So those two resources combined are really, really helpful for anybody who's trying to learn more about a particular career. So when creating your college list, you're probably going to have 20, 30, who knows how many colleges are going to be on that list. But both Dana and I are of the belief that once you get towards the end of the summer, September, you need to be narrowing down your college list to about 10 colleges. If you've got 10 colleges, to me, that indicates that you've really done your research. You've found colleges that you're excited about all the way across through that grouping of colleges, and also that you've really vetted them, that you've done your homework and you know where it is that you want to be. If your list is larger, if you're considering applying to 20 different schools, hold up, do a little more research. Think deeply, look at your list of priorities, and go through and see which of those 20 colleges most closely align to that list. I can't tell you that it's not right to apply to 20 colleges, but think about how many, college application fees you'll need to submit, the work involved with that. Really, it's going to be beneficial for you to do that work up front by considering your priorities and doing the research and really intentionally applying and giving energy to that smaller list of schools. So within that smaller list of schools, we want you to have 1 to 2 moonshot reach options. These are colleges where you have less than a 25% chance of admission. And I would even say a moonshot school would be a school that typically admits between 10 and 5% of its overall applicant pool. It's just incredibly competitive to get in there no matter who you are. Even if you have all of the statistics going in, grades, test scores, the really well-rounded resume, all the activities, it's still going to be competitive no matter what, just because of how large their applicant pool is and how many people they're really able to admit. So 1 to 2 schools at that level is what we would like to see. And then ideally you have 6 to 7 target schools. So these are schools where your test scores and your GPA are falling within the middle 50 range. So kind of that average. Maybe you're a little bit above, maybe you're a little bit below, but you really are fitting into that middle 50th percentile. And we feel like you're going to have a good shot of being admitted there. And you're going to see some offers of financial aid, merit aid based on your profile, depending upon how you stack up with the rest of the class. And then we also want to see you to have 2 to 3 likely admission options. These are schools where you have a greater than 75% chance of being admitted based on the statistics. But what I really want you to do, what we really want you to do, is be excited about those schools. Don't let those be the schools that you're like, oh, well, I know that I'll get in there, so I'll apply, but I really don't want to go there. Don't do that. Every school on your list needs to be a school that you're excited about attending. And the reason why we want you to do that is because at the end of your senior year, we want you to have a really nice list of schools that you're excited about, where you'd be happy to attend no matter what. And then the choice really comes down to, do you want to be at school A versus school B, even though you're excited about both, and where are you getting the biggest bang for your buck in terms of merit aid or financial aid and the overall cost. So that's a choice between, all positive options, as opposed to, looking at an option that you're not excited about and another option that you are really excited about. that maybe, you know, option A is a little more affordable. And that comes down, that makes it a tougher decision. So we would want the decision to be exciting and easy all the way across the board. And in order to do that, we want you to be excited about every college on that college list of yours.
Okay, in terms of one of the final ways to go ahead and think about a really strong strength-based and holistic list is getting feedback. You cannot do this alone. It's really important as a student and as a family that you do get feedback from professionals who are able to give you their judgment and their opinions in regards to your potential chances of getting into schools and creating the balance in a list that Nicole just talked about. So in terms of your school-based college counselor, the thing that's really helpful with a school-based counselor is that they know the trends of students at their school. So they have the data to know how have students in the past with similar grades and similar test scores and similar resumes performed at the particular schools that are traditionally applied to by members of that school community. And so that can be really helpful. If a particular college happens to be very, very competitive and there's been very few students who have applied and been accepted to a school over the last, say, 5 years, sometimes, you know, that might look on a piece of paper to be like you could sort of be in that middle 50%. Your school-based counselor might say the trend of the school is that this is actually a reach option because we're seeing that students who typically do get in have higher credentials than what is being reported. So that is a very helpful thing to get from your college counselor is the trends of what has been happening at your particular school over a 5-year period of time. In terms of independent college counselors, which like we've mentioned, Nicole and I are, the things that is really unique about our field is that we have opportunities to travel to different type of schools. That is an expectation of us within the organizations that we align with professionally. And so to be able to go visit schools, we see anywhere between 20 and 30 schools a year between each one of us. And so I think that that's really helpful. I know in my case, I've seen almost over 100 schools within the last few years. And that's just not just because I really enjoy looking at college campuses, but because I want to be able to learn about a school, come back, sit with my clients and be able to say, your personality, which I'm learning about very intimately through our meetings and conversations, might be a really great fit for a school that I just happened to go see. And also we are able to, through this effort and connections that we have with other college counselors, identify aspects of particular colleges that we think would be a good fit. And that's a lot of part is in place because of the intimate relationship that we have as being a member of kind of your village in terms of setting up the whole college experience. And also teachers, mentors, families, and friends. They don't know everything about this process, but it's really important to find out if you have somebody who has a career that's really interesting to you, find out where they went to college, find out where else they applied to college, learn about their journey, learn about what was important to them and how they were able to pick the school that they went to. Sometimes people do have insight into few colleges. If you know somebody who's really known for hiring, you might want to say to them, hey, you know, you hire people. Can you tell me a little bit more about how I can go ahead and get into that particular career field? And are there colleges that are good for that? That's really helpful. And remember that the ideal college for one person could be disastrous for another. So really keep in mind that this is a very individualized process. You can compare and contrast, but at the end of the day, your college list is yours. It is unique. It is taking into consideration who you are as a person, who you are as a person that you want to be. And it's the most important that you honor yourself more than you do honor the feedback of other people. So that's the most important thing that we can say when creating a list.
And lastly, I want to emphasize that it's important to talk to your family. And the reason why we feel it's important for you to talk to your family is they may see things that you don't automatically see about yourself. And I'm not talking about, you know, the bad things, right? I'm talking about the really positive things. So what are things that you're strong with that you're just innately doing throughout the day? Maybe you're just a natural born leader or a coordinator or a communicator. They see that often and they can point that out to you. They can also point out areas where they would love to see you grow. And that can be an indication for a type of program that you seek out as a co-curricular option on a college campus. Also, just as Dana was saying, find out about what their college experience was like, but also find out about what their expectations are for you for college so that you can understand what they're bringing into the conversation and you can understand their perspective on everything as you continue to work with them throughout the year. You are the one applying to college. This is your college process and it will be your college degree. However, your family is there to support you along the way, and they are also along for the ride. So they've got some components that they're going to have to contribute to the process too. So it's good to be communicating with them about that so that you guys continue to talk and are really open with what's going on throughout the entirety of your senior year. Another reason why it's really important to speak with your family early on is to speak with them about finances and understand how and if your family can financially support you in your application to colleges and while you are in school. You want to make realistic choices based on these conversations. And you can use the net price calculator that's available on all college websites to understand what the approximate cost might be for you to attend that school. Oftentimes they ask you to input a little bit of tax information, so that's why it's going to be important that you're talking to your family about this. But you input some tax information and the demographics of your family, and it will give you a general number to help you understand what you might see in terms of aid and what you might see in terms of overall cost for going to that school. I would hate it if you were to apply to colleges, be really excited about going to colleges, and then have a lot of them not be within the realm of affordability for you. So the financial component is a really important piece to the college search process. Like I just said earlier, you own this process. Dana and I feel very passionately that this is your process. This isn't your family member's process. However, your family member does need to be a part of the conversation, and it's on you as the college-going student to include them in that conversation.
So thank you so much for joining us for the last 20 plus minutes to learn about how to build a strength-based and holistic college list. If you want to learn more about how to do so, you can reach out to me, Dana Ponsky, at Dana Ponsky Consulting Services. My website is available with my phone number as well as my email. And Nicole is also available at Walberg College Counseling. Her address, email, and phone number available as well. Please reach out to us, join our, subscribe to our YouTube channels, reach us on Facebook, Instagram, however you want. Stay connected with us. Let us know if you have any questions, and we're really happy to share this with you. And look out next week for another 20-minute tips and topics.
Have a great week.
Thanks, everyone.